Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulunding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm reception to our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Jacqueline Colley. In the headlines tonight, Project 8 Gambia donates medical equipment to Ministry of Health. Stranded Gambian traffic women vandalize Gambian consulate as they protest, demanding to be repatriated home. OIC Gambia sectarian optimistic of a successful summit despite COVID-19. Victims of human trafficking fear to open up because of discrimination and lack of support from government. On the international scene, global condemnation of Mali coup despite public support. US to demand restoration of UN sanctions on Iran. An average of 7 children go missing daily in Mexico. Those were the headlines and now the news in details. Project 8 Gambia and the German Embassy in the Gambia, in collaboration with 2 medical supplier companies in Germany, donated medical equipment to the Ministry of Health worth $11 million in support of the fight against COVID-19. Our reporter Maria Madam attended the handing over of the equipment to the Ministry of Health, and this is her report.
Project 8 The Gambia, in partnership with University Clinic Essen in Germany, has donated 34 ventilators, 18 hospital beds, and other additional medical accessories to the Ministry of Health in response to the fight against the deadly coronavirus. The ventilators are worth $11 million and will be used for the treatment of the increasing number of seriously ill COVID-19 patients. Jenan Olsha, political attaché of the German Embassy office in the Gambia, showed gratitude for being part of the initiative and says the German Embassy is glad to render support during this trying moment as ventilators are much needed with the surge of COVID-19 cases in the Gambia.
The German Embassy is delighted to support and assist the Gambian people during this challenging time. We would also like to highlight the importance of the successful relationship between Germany and the Gambia, which makes projects like this possible. Due to this bilateral cooperation, the German Embassy gladly supports this very timely project as one of our micro-projects. The ventilators and the equipment are much needed in this rise of COVID-19 cases in the Gambia. And Project 8 The Gambia has been a trusted partner in the Gambia for many, many years. With the micro-project team, the German Embassy supports NGO initiatives that aim at improving basic needs of the poor and most vulnerable groups of the population.
Charles Mbai, chairman of Project 8 The Gambia, thanked their partners and said the ventilators will significantly improve the Gambian health system. As the number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise in the country, Mr. Mbai advises people to adhere to the precautionary measures recommended by the Ministry of Health and WHO.
The COVID is something that sees us, but we don't see the COVID. So how do we manage it? We have to take the basic principle guideline given by the Ministry of Health and WHO. Correct. That means social distancing, sanitization, clean environment, wash your hands properly, put on your face mask, don't get close to anybody, let everybody becomes a victim, and then we're all safe.
Malik Shen, Deputy Head of Logistics on behalf of the Ministry of Health, sought appreciation and thanked Project Aid the Gambia and its partners for the timely support.
This is not the first, and I know will never be the last. I have been coming here for more than 10 times today to receive hospital equipment on behalf of the Minister of Health. So we can proudly give 3 cheers to the Project Aid by coming to our aid for giving out very important materials, which are the CPAPs and the ventilators, which are highly needed in the country today to fight COVID-19. Without wasting more time, we can say a very big thank you on behalf of the President of the Gambia.
Sent further assured the donors that the equipment will be put into use and will be distributed accordingly. In another development, with the Ministry of Health and the Regional Health Directorates of CRR and NBR, Project Aid the Gambia recently donated an amount of 23 reusable face masks to 50 government health facilities in NBR and CRR regions, as well as to Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. The face masks are made in the Gambia and production was funded by the German partner organization of Project Aid the Gambia, and they promise to deliver more face masks to health facilities. Since 1986, Project Aid the Gambia International has been running several projects in the Gambia, such as with the activities on the sister villages Jahali and Medina in CRR. Mariama Dem, reporting for Star TV News.
Stranded Gambian traffic women staged a protest march at the office of the Gambian Honorary Council and vandalized the property. Gambia's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Sekou Cisse said, "The women have been demanding to be repatriated back home. Now they are running out of temper. They stormed the Honorary Council's office and allegedly vandalized it." Omar Job reports.
The protesters had their faces covered. They could be heard chanting, "We want to go home. We do not need Mr. Ali, the Honorable Councillor." They were armed with hammers. The door to the consulate was damaged. One of the protester women said, "We came out because we want to come home, regardless of who is helping us. But Mr. Khalid, the council, said he cannot do any transaction with the only woman who is trying in us coming back." He said that this is because he received directions from the Gambia government that he should not speak to Levito because Leviti is tarnishing the name of the government and that Leviti is gaining money out of this. But we told him that we are not interested about what Leviti Jallo gain or not gain. All we know is that she is helping us come back home, and that's the only thing we are interested in. The protest came as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirms that 36 emergency passport has been prepared ahead of a plan to evacuate the girls. Cisse has condemned the conduct of the protesters. He says the Gambia government will not condone violent protests. Spokesman Cisse says the destroyed property doesn't belong to the Gambia government. It belongs to the Gambian-born Lebanese who has been hired by the government to represent the country in Beirut as an honorable consul, he said. The woman has earlier stormed the consulate protesting, demanding to be evacuated home. Cisse said the girls were not arrested because the honorable consul has asked the police not to arrest them. He says the Gambian government has prepared the passport of the stranded women and they will soon be repatriated to return home. Efforts are underway to return the girls to reunite with their families and loved ones. I cannot give any specific timeline as of when we can receive them in the Gambia. Meanwhile, Lofiti Jallo, the woman helping Gambian women in Lebanon, has reacted to claims she is tarnishing the image of the government. Lofiti had accused the government of shutting its doors to her over the issue of the women. Lofiti Jallo, in a rejoinder, however, to the Fatu Network, this has been ongoing for 9 months with no progress. I only joined in a week ago when I was contacted by the woman, so I am not the problem, am I? She asked. I stand ready with my bank account to pay for the tickets. I am not asking for anything from the government but their emergency papers. To allege that I am tarnishing the government is untrue. I filmed and recorded all my conversations so you all can make your own decisions. If it was not for COVID, I would be in Beirut right now. Instead, I keep in touch daily with the woman. The consulate doesn't want to get in contact with me because I know the real truth behind all this, even if I did not speak it out loud. And because I know what many of you don't know, I want my people out of Lebanon as soon as possible. Fatou Jagne, who also was trafficked from the Gambia to Kuwait, now runs an organization called Network of Girls Against Human Trafficking. As I am talking to you, I don't even know what to do right now because I am receiving calls every day from these young people, not only in the Gambia. They are different African countries, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, among others, asking for help, asking for me to come out and talk to their government, to talk to their people, so that they can help them to repatriate them to come back to Africa because they are really suffering. They are killing them, they are abusing them, they are raping them, they are torturing them, she said. Fatu returned to the Gambia in 2017. Fatu is pushing the Gambia government to help evacuate the trafficked Gambian women in the Arab world, but says so far nothing has been done. For Star TV, I am Omar Job.
Mfali Fadera, the brand and communication of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, said they have no reason whatsoever to believe that the pandemic would affect the hosting of the OIC summit in the Gambia. Binta Koli files in this report.
The leadership of the OIC Gambia and its partners remain on track and are working relentlessly to making sure we have a successful event, Fadera said. He said 20 new modern roads will be constructed across the Greater Banjul area. Additionally, he said the battle-hardened highway will be expanded into a dual carriage alongside a pedestrian walkway on each side. All the roads will be fitted with street lights, drainage systems, footpaths, among other modern features, where applicable. The routes are strategically chosen in a way that it will reduce pressure on major highways in the country in order to address traffic long jam or severe delays, the communication specialist said. He said the budgeted amount for the construction of the 20 new roads is $50 million, including the design, supervision, and construction. Adding for the battle-hardened, the estimated budget based on a feasibility study constructed is $75.7 million. He explained that the funding for the 20 new modern roads, which has already been acquired, is a loan through the Saudi fund. The hosting of the OIC summit in the Gambia and its related projects or development will have immeasurable impact on the progress of the country, Fadera said. He added, not only will the event put the Gambia on world map, it presents unprecedented opportunities to transform the country for good. OIC Gambia will implement projects the country has never seen before, and their impact will have ripple effect across the board. He said they will build new roads to ease movement, boost commerce, improve growth, and improve the urban area by building the largest conference hall in the West Africa sub-region and a VVIP lodge at the Banjul International Airport. This will position the Gambia as the leading conference destination in West Africa. He detailed that they will build a 5-star hotel and augment the standards of local ones with a view of preserving Gambia's preeminent position as the smiling coast of Africa. Additionally, he said they will work with the police and other security agencies to equip and improve their capacities to keep the streets safe. While doing all of these, we will be creating thousands of jobs for women and young people in the country, Fadera said. On how the contracts will be awarded, Mr. Fadera said all the contracts will be awarded through competitive bidding as per the guidelines of the founding age. For Star TV News, I am Binta Koli.
The president of the Network of Girls for Human Trafficking, Fatu Jain, a victim of human trafficking herself, said other victims are afraid to open up to the difficulties they face in their various traffic destinations because of the fear of social discrimination and the lack of support they get from the Gambian government. More on this report.
Fatu Jain, who is the founder and president of the network, said she herself was a victim and was trafficked in the year 2015. Fatu stressed that Gambian government is not ready to help and stop girls from being trafficked to Asian countries. As a result of that, she added many are not ready to speak out because the society sometimes discriminates them.
Right now, I was calling these girls and they refuse to come out and talk. I just want them to be part of this interview, but they refuse. Because of what? The discrimination. Because of what? They believe that Gambia government is not ready to help. This is not about to criticize the government, but this is the fact. I just want to tell you that this is the fact. Gambia government, like they believe that Gambia government is not ready to help them. They are really suffering and they need the Gambia government to help them. They are really affected.
She stressed that the August 4th explosion that happened in the capital of Lebanon, Beirut, has left a lot of these girls trafficked from the Gambia to Lebanon, homeless and without medical attention. Some, she said, complained that they were not given medication because of their skin color and race.
They are really affected because most of them have a problem in this blast, in this bomb, but when they went to the hospital, they don't want to attend to them. They don't want to attend to them because they are black, they are Africans. And our people are still ignoring. I am calling everyone to support us in this. My blood is not there, I can say it, but I feel that they are my family. Because I passed through it and I know what is going on. I know how they are feeling, especially by this time in Lebanon. They are really suffering. They don't even have food to eat. We send them 1 million Lebanese money so that they can help themselves, so that they can have food to eat. They are really suffering and they need the government to help them. They need the Gambians to help them. Please, let's not discriminate or harass them. Let's accept them so that they can come out and talk. I encourage so many Africans to come out and talk. Now they are all back home. But Gambians don't want to come out and talk because how Gambians take them.
Jan called on the government and other private sectors to help bring back its nationals who are stuck in Lebanon and urged the government to intervene and stop the traffic of these young girls.
Those were the local stories. We will be right back with international news after the short break.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jeja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulaning. We are also producers of Jeja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company, Gosh Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gosh Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gosh on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gosh Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.goshglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh.
And now news beyond our borders. The Economic Community of West African States has condemned the coup attempt in Mali and has moved to suspend the country from its decision-making body. In an announcement, the regional alliance also said that the neighboring countries of the West African states are closing its borders and will impose sanctions as the crisis continues. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the arrest of the President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and members of the government, calling for their immediate release. Spokesman Stephane Dujarric said in a statement. French President Emmanuel Macron has also reiterated his condemnation of the coup in Mali. Al Jazeera's Ahmed Idris reports.
Free at last, Mali's new military leaders released these opposition demonstrators after they spent 2 weeks in prison.
We were unjustly arrested by the former government because we were demanding justice and good governance for Malians. We were asking for good education, health. We were arrested just because of that.
The military leaders behind Tuesday's coup in Mali are desperate to gain trust and legitimacy. They've met with members of the opposition, assuring them that the military intervention will be brief and that elections will follow, but without setting deadlines.
We have no political ambition. We are soldiers. We have other prerogatives, other missions to deal with. Our objective is, through the various meetings we had with the various social and political groups, to hand over rapidly the powers to a civilian transition for the continuity of the state, and we are all aware today of the political and security situation Mali is going through.
Mali's opposition seem impressed, at least for now. Influential power broker and preacher Mahmoud Dicko announced his withdrawing from politics after the meeting. Issa Kawu Jim is a member of the M5 RHP opposition coalition that led demonstrations that eventually resulted in a coup which forced the resignation of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta.
I think the hardest part starts now. It's a question of bringing everyone together. There are no winners and losers. We're all Malians. Even those who with Keïta, if they don't have blood on their hands, if they're not involved in embezzlement of public funds. We must all come together, military and civilian, to defend the republic and impose democracy and good governance.
But the reaction from the rest of the world was that of condemnation. The United Nations, the African Union, and the West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS have all condemned the military coup. ECOWAS has imposed economic and other restrictions, including air and land blockade, cutting financial and economic ties, and membership of the body. On Thursday, France announced it's keeping its forces in Mali to help bring peace to the region. But without a civilian government and the continued threat of armed groups, these are challenging times for many. In Mali, Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera.
The United States is demanding that all international sanctions be reimposed on Iran, accusing Tehran of violating the terms of a 2015 nuclear agreement from which Washington withdrew 2 years ago. The United Kingdom, France and Germany have rejected the move. They say the US has no legal right to ask that sanctions be reimposed. Al Jazeera's Christine Salumi reports from the United Nations in New York.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made a special trip to UN headquarters to formally accuse Iran of violating the 2015 nuclear deal. In a letter submitted to the Security Council president, he argues Iran has been enriching uranium and supplying weapons to proxy militias in the Middle East. It's an attempt to trigger UN procedures that would lead to the automatic reinstatement of sanctions.
This process will lead to those sanctions coming back into effect 30 days from today. Our message is very, very simple. The United States will never allow the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism to freely buy and sell planes, tanks, missiles, and other kinds of conventional weapons. These UN sanctions will continue the arms embargo.
The so-called snapback provision was part of the deal negotiated 5 years ago. There's just one problem. The U.S. withdrew from the deal in 2018.
It's not triggering a snapback. Snapback can be triggered by a country which is a participant of the JCPOA, which U.S. is not.
Iran, like Russia, says the U.S. move is illegal and the act of a bully.
That nothing is going to happen in 30 or 31 days, because the U.S. has to enjoy the support of the Security Council, which does not exist. The U.S. position is being ridiculed in the Security Council.
The United States has put its European allies on the Security Council in a very awkward position. They didn't speak publicly, but issued a statement saying they cannot support the U.S.'s unilateral move because they want to preserve the international nuclear deal. That is, as long as the Iranians hold up their end of it.
The one thing that could actually turn a lot of the Europeans back to the US side in these discussions would be serious provocations by Iran. I think that what we're likely to see is the Iranians who know the US electoral calendar simply wait.
It could make for uncomfortable relations in the Security Council, at least until November. Kristen Salumi, Al Jazeera, the United Nations.
More than 73,000 people are listed missing in Mexico, and around 20% of them are minors. Activists say the number of children who disappear every day has doubled over the past 2 years. Most are believed to have been trafficked for sexual exploitation or sold into forced labor. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports.
Juanita Perez is asking for help to locate her 2-year-old son Dylan. He was taken from a market in the Mexican state of Chiapas on June 30th. Juanita says despite the media attention and help from activists, it took a long time for police and authorities to begin investigating the boy's disappearance.
I know it's not only my son that everyone should be looking for, but I know that if we search for him, we will find many other children. That's what I would like, for people to keep looking and keep coming together, not only for my son, but for the many other lost children.
Juanita's case is far from unique. Every day, an average of 7 children go missing in Mexico, and that rate of daily child abductions has almost doubled in the last 2 years.
Lo que calculamos es que la desaparición de niños pequeños.
We believe the disappearance of young children is linked to illegal adoptions, nationally and internationally. And in the case of adolescent girls, the evidence suggests they become victims of sex trafficking. And in the case of adolescent boys, we know they are often forced to work for criminal groups.
According to the latest national statistics, more than 73,000 people are listed as missing across Mexico. And just as forced disappearances have seen an exponential growth in recent years, so have protests calling for accountability.
Demonstrations like these have become very common here in the Mexican capital, and they're often organized by the family members of missing persons. And what we hear consistently from people at this type of protest is that the government isn't doing enough to find their missing loved ones.
Mexico has some of the toughest laws in the region against human trafficking, but legal experts say a culture of corruption and impunity means few cases are ever solved. Many are never even investigated. In the absence of state help, dozens, if not hundreds, of collectives have been formed by the families of the disappeared. They're on a constant search for the tens of thousands of missing persons across the country, an estimated 20% of whom are children and adolescents.
20% of disappearances is a very high percentage. And if you include young adults up to the age of 25, what the data suggests is that it's Mexico's youth that is disappearing.
Many compare the phenomenon of forced disappearances in Mexico to an epidemic that has only worsened over time. Since the turn of the century, it's estimated that some 12,000 children have gone missing in Mexico, most of them between the ages of 13 and 17. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
And now, before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Project 8 Gambia donates medical equipment to Ministry of Health. Stranded Gambian traffic women vandalize Gambian consulate as they protest, demanding to be repatriated home. OIC Gambia sectarian optimistic of a successful summit despite COVID-19. Victims of human trafficking fear to open up because of discrimination and lack of support from government. On the international scene, global condemnation of Mali coup despite public support. US to demand restoration of UN sanctions on Iran. An average of 7 children go missing daily in Mexico. That's all for this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Thank you.